Hey everybody, welcome back to another Bank Breakers Casino Channel video. I am super excited to get this kicked off. This is the first in my series of Friday Night Craps. So my theory behind this and my thinking behind it was that there's a lot of players out there that play Blackjack and Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card, and they play like all the table games because they're familiar with the cards, they're familiar with the hands, what beats what, that type of thing. So they're all just kind of variations of the same game. Basically, you have cards and 2 through ace and different suits, and some games you try to get 4 in a row, 5 in a row. Sometimes you try to get the suits. Sometimes you just try to have the best poker hand. Sometimes you're trying to get to 21. So they're all just variations of card games. So I feel like people are intimidated when it comes to dice and when it comes to craps. And it's for two different reasons, really. Number one, they're dice, they're not cards. So it's something that is a little bit different, and you have to worry about, numbers and adding and odds and, all that kind of stuff. And the second thing is that there's just so many bets, and there really is. I mean, when you get into it, I've been playing craps for 30 plus years, and there's still bets sometimes that I don't understand. I have to ask the dealer, well, what does that pay? Or what is that for? What's the difference between a horn bet and a C&E and, all that type of thing. So there are so many different bets, but my plan is in this video, I'm going to go through all the basic bets. We're not going to go into all the more advanced bets, but we're going to go over the basic bets so that by the time this video ends, you at least understand the basics of craps and how it works and what the odds are on your basic bets and what odds are and how they pay and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. Sometimes I feel like I just talk and I try to explain, like when I'm explaining to my friends and stuff, and next thing you know, 45 minutes has gone by and I haven't even started getting to the other bets yet. So we'll see how long it goes, but my goal is that by the end of this video, you will be very comfortable walking up to a craps table, putting your money down on the table, and then making some bets. So with that said, let's get to the table and let's start learning the wonderful and amazing game of craps. All right, everybody. Well, let's get into it. Let's start talking about the game of craps. All right. So this is a normal, this is what's called a crapsless craps layout. And we'll get into that in other videos. But for this purpose, I want you to imagine that the 2 and the 3 and the 11 and 12 are not here, okay? So we're just going to talk about the regular basic game of craps. Now, the first thing we want to talk about are the dice themselves, okay? Every table is going to have a set of 5 dice just like this. Now, if you'll notice, these are 6-sided dice. There's 4 sides and then 2 opposite sides, okay? Now, because they're 6-sided, every number that's opposite is going to add up to 7. So if you look, there's the 6-sided dice. On the opposite side is a 1 that adds to 7. Here's the 5. Opposite side is 2 that adds to 7. 4 and 3 adds to 7. Okay? So the opposites is always going to add up to 7. So we have a 6-sided dice. Now, in the game of craps, odds are basically looking at what are the odds of rolling a particular number, okay? So we'll get to that, to how they pay and stuff like that later on, but let's just think about it for a second. If you have 2 dice and they add up to 2, you have a 1 and a 1, right? There's literally only one way that you can roll a 2, and that's with a 1 and a 1, okay? Any other number is going to not be 2. So you've got a 2. There you go. That's one way to roll it. Now let's go to the next number, 3. Okay. There's 2 ways to roll a 3. There's a 1 and a 2. And then there's also the 2 and the 1. So this dice could be a 2, this one could be a 1, or this one could be a 2, and that one could be a 1. So there's 2 ways to roll a 3. Now, let's think about 4. Okay, we've got a 3 and a 1, or you could have a 3 and a 1, or a 1 and a 3, or you could also have a 2 and a 2. So there's 3 ways to roll a 4. Okay, now let's think about 5. Well, there's a 4 and a 1. Okay, then there's a 1 and a 4. There's also a 4 and a 1, so that's 2 ways. Now there's also a 3 and a 2, or there's a 2 and a 3. Where's my 3? There it is. Oh wait, 3 and 2. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, there's 4 ways to roll a 5. Okay, now there's 5 ways to roll a 6. So there's a 2, a 4 and a 2. I think I'm reading them backwards for you guys. So for you, it'd be a 2 and a 4. And then there's the 4 and the 2. Okay, so that's 2 ways. There's a, let's see, there's a 5 and a 1. Okay, a 1 or a 1 and a 5. And then there's also a 5 and a 1. So there's 4 ways. Now there's also a 3 and a 3. Okay? Now, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to roll a 5. Or excuse me, a 6. We're moved on to 6 here. Okay, so 5 ways to roll a 6. Now, let's think, how many ways are there to roll a 7? Well, there's a 1 and a 6. There's a 6 and a 1, right? There's a 5 and a 2, or a 2 and a 5, or there's also, what did I do? Oh, 4 and a 3, or a 3 and a 4. Okay, so there's 6 ways to roll a 7. The way I always remember it is basically it's 1 less than what the number is. So 4, there's 3 ways to roll it. A 5, there's 4 ways to roll it. A 6, there's 5 ways to roll it. And a 7, there's 6 ways to roll it. Okay, so what that means is that, as you can see, there's 6 combinations to roll a 7. So the most likely number on any single roll is a 7. You have 6 ways to roll a 7. You only have 5 ways to roll a 6. You have 4 ways to roll a 5, 3 ways to roll a 4, 2 ways to roll a 3, and 1 way to roll a 2. Okay? So when you have 2 dice and they roll, there's only 3 ways to roll a 4. So the way that they pay you is dependent on how that relates to the number of ways to roll a 7. So there's 3 ways to roll a 4. There's 6 ways to roll a 7. So that is 2 to 1. 6, 3, 3, 6, 2 to 1. So they pay you 2 to 1 on that. That's called true odds. Okay. We'll get into all the odds here in just a few minutes. But I just wanted you to understand the dice and why the numbers are what the numbers are. Okay? Now, let's talk about the actual table, the actual layout. Okay? The first thing that you're going to do when you walk up to a table, number 1, you don't have to do this, but it is kind of respect and kind of a norm in the casinos, is you only walk up to put your money down to enter the game when this little thing right here says off, when this little puck says off. It's called a puck. Okay? When that says off, that means the game has not started yet. So you can walk up, you can say, hey, I want to play, here's my money. You always put it right here in this little come line, okay? You don't walk up to the table and throw it up here. You don't walk up to the table and put it right in front of you. You walk up to the table, you put it right there in the come, you say, there's my money, I'd like to start. Or you don't really have to say anything. You just put money in there. The dealer's going to take the money. So what they'll do is they'll take it. They'll hand it to the what's called the pit boss or the supervisor or whatever. He'll take it. He'll count the money out. $300, $400, $500. Okay. So he'll tell the dealer, give this person $500. So they'll probably, more than likely, give you 400 in green, and then they'll give you 100 in red. Okay? So you have $100 in red, and you have $400 in green. All right, there we go. So you've got a little place on the table, and you take your money and you put it, and then they'll stack it up and they'll hand it over to you, wherever you're standing. And then you take that money, you pick it up, and you put it in the rack. There you go. Now, for purposes of the video, what we're going to do is we're just going to put your money right here in this little rack, and we'll say that that simulates. All right, so I've got your money in the rack. We'll just put that right over there so you can see. Or maybe we'll put it down here so you can see how much money we have. There we go. And then they'll take your money and drop it in the little slot there. Okay, now, the first bet that we're going to talk about is basically the basic bet of craps. And this is called the pass line, okay? Let's say that this is a $15 minimum table. You're going to take $15 and put it right there in the pass line, okay? Now, you're going to have a come out roll. This is when the puck is off. You call it a come out roll because we're establishing a point, okay? So the point of the game is then to roll that number again before you roll a 7. So let's do this. Let's pretend like you walked up, you got your money, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a come out roll. Now, on the come out roll, when this says off, there's 2 rules that you need to know. Number 1, if you roll a 7 or 11, or if whoever's rolling rolls a 7 or 11, you win on the pass line, okay? If you roll a 2, a 3, or a 12, you lose that money. Any other number is going to establish the point, okay? So they're going to hand you all 5 dice. You pick up 2 of them, and they'll pull the other 3 back. You take the 2 dice and you throw them against the back wall. Now, in this particular case, we rolled a 7, a 4, and a 3. See that? What happens on the come out roll? 7, 11, you win. 2, 3, or 12, you lose. So since you rolled a 7, you win that $15, okay? Now, if you notice, we haven't rolled any one of these inside numbers yet, so the puck still stays off. You get to collect your $15, and then you get to roll again. Again, we're trying to establish a point, okay? So let's roll. 7 again. As you can see, the most probable number to roll is a 7 on any particular roll. So I'm going to have to get some more chips here. There we go. So again, you rolled a 7 again. So $15, you collect that. And we're still coming out. We're still trying to establish a point. Okay, here we go. 4. Okay, good. So what happens now when you roll a number on the inside box there? There's a 4, 3, and a 1. The dealer will take this puck. They'll turn it to on. And this now signifies that this is your point. The point of the game is for you to now roll a 4 before you roll a 7. If you roll the 4 before you roll the 7, you win. If you roll the 7 before you roll the 4, you lose. That's it. So let's roll it out. 4. Damn. This is a hot roll. All right. So we rolled a 4. Let me bring those over so you guys can see them. Okay. We rolled a 4. before we roll the 7, so you win. Easy enough. Once you roll the point, this puck goes back off. You collect your $15. We'll just put that in the winnings over here. And then you get to roll again, because now the puck is off. So now we have to establish another point. 7. All right. When the puck is off, what does a 7 do? 7 means we win. So 7, 11, you win. 2, 3, or 12, you lose. Okay? So you win again. There we go. You get to collect more money. Let me take these over here so y'all can see them. Okay, let's do it again. We're still on the come out, so we're still trying to establish a point. 7, 11, we win. 2, 3, or 12, we lose. 7. This never happens in the casino, just so you know. Let me get some more red chips so I can pay you. There we go. All right. $15 you win on the come out. 7, 11 you win. 2, 3, or 12 you lose. All right. Let's try it again. 3. Okay. Finally. So what's the rule? 7, 11 you win. 2, 3, or 12 you lose. On the come out, when this says off, 2, 3, or 12 you lose. And then 7, 11 you win. So since we rolled a 3, we rolled a 2 and a 1, you would lose that bet. The casino would take it, put it in their stack, and you now have to replace that with your money. Okay? We're still on the come out, so let's do it again. 8. 8. 4 and 4 is 8. There we go. All right, so what happens? The dealer will take the puck and turn it on to the 8. Now the point of the game is to roll an 8 before you roll a 7. Here we go. 4. Well, what happens when you roll a 4? Well, right now, absolutely nothing, because the only point of the game is to roll your 8, you roll your point before you roll a 7. So if you roll a 4, nothing happens. 6. All right, what happens when you roll a 6? Absolutely nothing, because you don't have anything on the 6. 8. Look at that. Back-to-back winners. Look at that. 5 and 3 is 8. You rolled your point before you rolled a 7, so that goes back off, and you win. Very good. All right, we're making some money. If this only worked like this in the casino, we'd all be rich, all right? Okay. Now, the puck is off, so let's establish another point, and then we'll talk about odds. Here we go. 11. Yo, that's called a yo. Yo 11. All right, now what's the rule on the come out? 7, 11, you win. 2, 3, or 12, you lose. Okay, so you win that. Now, we got to roll again because we're trying to establish a point here. 4, 3, 7. 7, 11, you win. 2, 3, or 12, you lose. All right, so there you go. You got more money going. Let's do it again. 4. All right, now the point becomes 4. Now, let's talk about the second bet that we're going to learn, and this is called odds, okay? If you notice down here at the bottom of the table, it says maximum odds 10x, okay? So what that means is that you can bet up to 10 times your bet on odds, what are called odds. So $15 times 10 is $150. So what you're going to do, and you can bet anywhere from $5 to $150. You can bet $20, $50, $60, $21, whatever you want to bet on this one. Now, it's considered the best bet in the casino that has the least odds. The reason for that is because they're going to pay you odds on the 4. We talked about earlier, how many ways are there to roll a 4? 3. How many ways are there to roll a 7? 6. So there's 6 ways to roll a 7, 3 ways to roll a 4. So they're going to pay you 2 to 1. That's called true odds. The casino literally has no house advantage on this bet because the chances of you rolling a 4 are half of what the chances of rolling a 7. 6 ways to roll a 7, 3 ways to roll a 4, 2 to 1. So you put this $150 behind your bet, okay? So what that's gonna do, let me make sure that's in camera, barely, but you can see it. It's going to, you know what, let me put this over here. That way you can see it better. So it's gonna go right behind the line. Your pass line is there, your odds go right behind it, okay? Oh wait, did I put that out of camera? I think I did. Okay, let's see. Over here, how's that? There we go. Odds behind the line. And then your pass line is right there. So now let's talk about what happens when we roll. Okay, so you rolled a 5. Okay, rolled a 5, so nothing happens because you have to roll a 4 before you roll a 7. 9, again, nothing happens. Nothing happens unless you roll a 4 or a 7. 9 again. Yo 11. 65 is a yo 11. There we go. 6 the hard way. We'll talk about hard ways and easy ways here in a minute. 10, 64, I think that's off camera, but let me bring them in here. 64, that's a 10. Again, it's not a 4 or a 7. 7 out. All right, so what happens with that is, because you rolled the 7 before you rolled the 4, you lose everything. There you go. Now, once you roll the 7, this puck goes back off, and the game is done. We now start all over again, right where we started. Okay, so that's the pass line. Now, let's talk about what's called the don't pass. The don't pass is exactly the opposite of what the pass line is. So, if you put $15 on your don't pass, then 7, 11 you lose, and 2, 3 you win, and then where it says bar 12, that means of 12 you push. So if you roll a 6 and a 6, then you push, you don't win or lose. So let's play that out for a minute. 12, just speaking of the devil, there's a 12. All right, so 12 you don't win or lose. The dealer will basically say it's a push. All right, so let's roll again. 11. Now, remember on the come out, when you're betting the pass line, 7, 11 you win, 2, 3, or 12 you lose. With this one, it's exactly the opposite. 7, 11 you lose, 2, 3 you win, 12 you push. So, since you rolled 11, you lose on the don't pass. So you're going to need to put that right back. And we're still coming out. 8, hard 8. 4 and a 4. Bring those over here. Sorry, it's hard to do left-handed. All right, so we have an 8. Now, remember when you were on the pass line, you basically, let me move this down so you can see that it says don't pass. You want to roll that number again before you roll a 7. Remember, the don't pass is exactly the opposite. Now, you want to roll a 7 before you roll the 8. So, let's roll. 7, there you go. So because we rolled the 7, you win on the don't pass. Everyone else that bet the pass loses. The people that bet the don't pass win. So as you can see, that's exactly the opposite, okay? All right, so that's the don't pass. Now, the odds are exactly the opposite as well. If you had the number on 4 or 10, then the odds are exactly half instead of 2 to 1 because there's still 6 ways to roll a 7. There's 3 ways to roll a 4. So it's going to pay you half. So if you were on the don't pass, and then let's say you bet $100 in odds, okay, what they're going to do, actually, it usually goes towards the center. There you go. So what they're going to do, and I think it actually goes over here. There we go. So let's say you rolled a 7, okay? They're going to pay you 1 to 1 there, but they're only going to pay you 50% of your $100 because it's 3 to 6, 6 to 3. Okay? Don't pass is considered kind of a advanced strategy, but I like to point it out because it's literally just the opposite of the pass line. If you learn what the pass line is, then you learned what the don't pass is because you just turned it upside down. All right. Now we want to talk about the last thing that we're really going to talk about in this particular video are place bets, okay? Because these are the things that you need to know. And we'll talk about the field as well. But these are the things you need to know and understand just walking up to a craps table. All these other bets over here, those are just side bets, and we'll talk about those in another video. So let's put your $15 on your pass line and let's roll the dice. 6 and 4 is 10, so 10 is going to be the point. Now, one of the things to understand also is that in these numbers, think of them as two groups, right? 4, 5, and 6, 8, 9, and 10. The reason is because if you learn the odds on the 4, 5, and 6, you automatically know the odds on the 8, 9, and 10. So if you look at it, I don't know if you can see how well you can see it on the video, but the 4 is 9 to 5, 5 is 7 to 5, 6 is 7 to 6. We're going to go the exact opposite. 8 is 7 to 6, 9 is 7 to 5, 10 is 9 to 5. So the 4 and the 10 are exactly the same, 9 to 5. The reason for that is because the odds of rolling that number are exactly the same. There's only 3 ways to roll a 10, 6 ways to roll a 7. So the 10 is going to also pay you 2 to 1 because there's okay, so this, let me back up just a little bit. In order for the house to have an edge, they pay you 9 to 5 on this number. There is a way that you can get paid basically 2 to 1, but we're going to, we'll cover that in a different video. So this is actually going to pay 9 to 5. The reason for that is the house has to build in an edge. So since the chances of rolling a 4 are half of what they are rolling a 7, then normal true odds, the odds that you got paid back here, they don't have a house edge. Well, with the 4 and the 10 only paying 9 to 5 instead of 10 to 5, that's where the house builds in the edge. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the place bets now. So let's establish, we established a point as 10. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place some bets on these numbers here. Now, the reason, or when this says 9 to 5 on the 4, you're going to bet in increments of 5 because for every $5 that you win, it's going to pay you $9. Okay, it's going to pay 9 to 5. Okay, so you're going to bet the 4 and the 10 in increments of 5. The minimum on a $15 table is going to be $15. 5, same thing. It's going to pay $7 to 5. So you're going to, if you win, it's going to pay you $7 instead of 9. So you're going to put a minimum of $15 on the 5. Now, this next bet is what I think confuses most people. Let me see if I can just break it down real quick. The 6 and the 8. If you notice, it says it pays 7 to 6. So instead of you winning $5 and paying $7, like on the 5, 7 to 5, what they're saying is they're going to pay you 7, but you have to bet 6 instead of 5, okay? And again, that has to do with the odds and what the odds are of rolling the 6 or the 8 as opposed to the 7. So because of that, we have to bet in increments of 6, okay? So you're going to bet 12, 18, 24, You know, so you're going to bet in increments of 6. Now, for every increment you bet, it's going to pay you $7. So if you bet 2 increments, you bet $12, it's going to pay you $14. Okay? So what we're going to do is, I think all these are the banks, sorry. We're not really going for bankroll at this point, but so what you're going to do is on the 6 and 8, you're going to bet increments of 6. So you're going to hand the dealer $20 and say, I want to bet an $18 6 because 18 is increments of 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, etc. So you'll hand the $20, he'll take 5, he'll make change, 5 ones, he'll give you 2 of them back, and then he'll put $18 on the 6. Okay? Now, you're going to do the same thing for the 8. He's going to take $2 change and put $18 on the 6 and 8. There we go. Now, the 9, remember, is the same as 5. So you're just going to bet $15. There we go. All right. So now you have all the numbers covered because remember, we're not worrying about the outside numbers here. This is a normal craps table. 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and then the 10 is your pass line. Now remember, we're going to put, let's say, $20 odds behind it because we want to win when we roll the 10. We want to win the double. All right, so we have all the numbers covered. We got the 10 on the pass line. All the other numbers are bet. And let's roll the dice. 8. 8 easy. Okay, there's a 6 and a 2. So the 8 pays 7 to 6. The easy way to calculate this is how many increments of 6 do you have? We have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you have 3 increments of 6. So 7 times 3, 7, 7, 7, is $21. So the dealer's going to give you $21, and then you keep the $18 bet. Every time you roll that 8, you're going to win $21. Okay? Let's roll again. And that's it, because remember, you haven't rolled the 10, that's your point, and you haven't rolled the 7. 6 and 6, that's a 12. And a 12 is not a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, or 7, so there's no action. 3, same thing. It's not one of those numbers, so there's no action. 8, 8 again. 5 and 3 is 8. So again, you're going to win. I need to start pull more money out here. You guys are taking all my money. So $21, because remember, you bet 3 increments of 6. So 6, 12, 18. 3 times 7 is $21. There you go. Okay, let's roll again. 8 again. You're winning back to back to back. So again, $21. He'll take that, put it right over there. You put it in your rack. That is your money to take home. There we go. All right, let's roll again. And we keep rolling until you either roll the 10 or the 7. And there's the 7, the 617. Sorry, I tried to do it right-handed. Okay, so what happens on the 7 is the game is over. You lose all your bets. They all come back to the house. Okay, there we go. Now we start over. This puck goes off, and we start a whole nother game. So put your $15 on the pass line. And this time we're going to talk about the field roll. Okay, you can put anywhere from 15, table minimum, up to whatever the table maximum is. On this one, let's just put $25, okay? Now, this is a 1 roll. Notice that these numbers, they stayed up there until you either rolled a 7 or until you rolled that number. If you roll that number, then you win. If you roll a 7, then you lose everything. With this one, this is a one roll. You either win or lose. That is it. There's no in between. So if you roll any of these numbers, you're going to win. If you roll the 5, 6, 7, or 8, you lose. So 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, you win. 5, 6, 7, 8, you lose. If you roll the 2 or the 12, you get paid double. So let's roll. 5. Okay, what's going to happen here is 5 is going to become the point, and since this is not a 5 is not in this number, you lose that bet. Now we can make our bets for the other numbers. We got 15. Remember, the 5 is already on your pass line. That's what you're betting. You're going to roll that number, and then 15, 15. And then you're going to put $6 up because you need $3 on top of each one of those. So you're going to do 3 and 3. There we go. All right, let's do one more roll. Let's put another field bet out there. $25 this time. All right. 10. 10 easy. And we'll talk about the easy and hard, and then we'll be done with the video. All right, so because 10 is in the number, you're going to win $25. And notice over here, you have 3 increments of 5. 3 times 9 is 27. So you're going to win $27 there. So you won 25 here. You won $52 on that roll. And then this stays up right where it goes. All right, let's roll again. 9, center field 9. The reason they call it center field is because you have 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, 9, or 11, 10, 11, 12, and then 9 is right there in the middle. So they call that a center field. Okay. So again, we're going to win 25 on the field, and then 9 is going to be 7 to 5. You have 3 increments of 5, so you're going to win 3 times 7, which is $21. There we go. And you're 25 in the field. All right. There we go. All right, let's do it again. 6, no field 6. You'll hear the dealer call a no field 6 because it's not in the field. So you're going to lose that 25. But 6, you've got 3 increments of 6, so that's going to be 7 times 3. You're going to win $21. All right, let's do it again. 5, no field 5. Good thing we didn't put our field bet back out there. I was actually going to, and I forgot. So 5's the winner. So you're going to win your $15. We didn't put odds back there, so we don't win the odds. This is going to turn off. You collect your $15, and we start all over again. Now, if you notice, these numbers stay here, okay? But when this puck says off, it means that this whole line here is off, okay? So it's not working right now. So right now, if you roll a 7, you don't lose any of these bets because these bets are off, okay? Now, let's talk about what's called the easy way and the hard way, okay? It's pretty simple. Hard way just means that it's a pair. So if you roll a hard 6, that means you roll a 3 and a 3, okay? You roll a hard 4, it's going to be a 2 and a 2. You roll a hard 8, it's going to be a 4 and a 4. Hard 10 obviously is 5 and a 5. So let's say you roll a 5 and a 5, that's called rolling a 10 the hard way. If you roll a 6 and a 4, that's the easy way to roll a 10. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, so we're on the come out here. Let's just go ahead and roll again until we 7 out. So just to see what we can do. We're going to put another field bet on there, and let's roll. 7. Now remember, we roll a 7, but these bets are off. Okay? This bet is a one roll bet, so you lose that one because the 7 is not in any of these numbers. But you do win your pass line because on the come out, when this is off, 7, 11 you win, 2, 3, or 12 you lose. So let's do it again. Let's see if we can establish a point. 3 craps, 1, 2, 3, no help to me. So 2, 3, or 12 you're going to lose. So you have to replace that $15 bet. Oh, sorry, the 15 goes to me. And then you have to replace the $15. All right, let's do it again. 7 frontline winner, 7 winner. So you're going to win and put that in the rack. Again, we still have not established a point. I'll show you what happens with these bets. Okay, when we do. 6, there we go. All right, perfect number to roll. So what's going to happen is this is going to make your point 6. Now, if you notice, we already have a bet here, but since we're betting on the pass line that we roll the 6 again before we roll the 7, it's really like a double bet. You're betting the 6 there and you're betting the 6 up here. So most of the time, dealers will ask you, what do you want to do with your 6? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to move it to the number that's not covered, which in this case is the 5. Now, the difference is, remember, we bet in increments of 5. So what the dealer's going to do is he's going to take those extra $3 that you had to bet in $18 and he's going to send it back to you. So you just put that back in your rack. So now these bets are considered proper. Okay? Now let's go ahead and put some odds so I can show you hopefully what the odds pay on the 6 and 8. 4, hard 4. Oh, sorry, that rolled, but it was a 4. It's a hard 4. So you have 3 increments of 5, and 9 times 3 is $27. You're going to win $27. Okay? And let's do it again. 5, no field 5. So you have 3 increments of 7. 7 times 3 is $21. Let me get some more white chips. You guys are taking all my chips. All right, $21. You win. All right, let's do it again. 5 back to back, 50, or you got 3 increments of 5, so that's going to pay $21. And you just keep collecting that money until we roll the ugly number, which you're not allowed to say on the craps table. You say big red, you say the ugly number, the bad number, whatever you want to say, but don't ever say the number 7. It's a superstition. I think I'm going to make a whole video over superstitions in the craps table. Craps players are the most superstitious people you will ever meet. 9, center field 9, 54, 9. Again, 7 to 5. You bet 3 increments of 5, so that's going to pay $21. All right. There we go. Let's do it again. And it's 9 back to back. Wow, there are strategies out there that we'll go over at some point, and they basically, you win big on what are called repeaters when you roll numbers back to back. We'd be killing that strategy right now. All right, $21. There we go. 4, 3, 1, 4. So that's going to be $27. Again, 9 times 3 increments of 5 is 27. Oh, that was over there off camera. That was a 1, so 5, 1 is 6. So this is going to win $21. I'm going to give you $25, and you're going to send me $4 back since you only win 21. There we go. So 25 for 4. Five, 3, 2, 5. Okay, so again, $21. I'm going to give you 25. You're going to give me 4 back. $4. This is called coloring up. 12, 6 and a 6. That is no action because we don't have the 12 bet. 5, again, oh my God, this is going to turn into an hour video because I can't stop rolling. All right, I'm going to do the same thing, 25 for 4. I'm just trying to get rid of some of the extra. Five. 5 again. All right, same thing, 25 for 4. Oh, 25 for you, 4 for me. There we go. Can he roll a 7 to save his life? 10 the hard way. 55 is a 10. So $27 you're going to win on that $15 bet. 8. 25 for 4. There we go. All right, 25. This, I mean, very rarely do rolls like this happen, but 12 again. We did not bet on the 12. All right. 9, center field. I'm just going to have to end this video. Like, I'm just trying to teach the, all right, 21 for your 9. All right, so we're not even going to count. I'm just going to end it here. We're not even going to count out. Let's just pretend like we rolled the 6. That way I can show you what the odds pay on the, well, where is it? There we go. All right, so 4 and 2, 6. Now, when you roll a 6, you're going to get paid 1-to-1 on your pass line, but on the 6, your odds are going to pay 30-25 or 6-5, same thing. So you're going to get paid $30 for each $25 bet. So you got 2 25s, you get paid 30 each. Okay, and the odds on your 5 are basically paid 3-2 like a blackjack. So if you bet 50 on a 5 or a 9, you would have got paid 75, just like a blackjack. Okay, all right. Hopefully this explains some things, and if you have to rewind a little bit and look at some of the explanations over and over again, that's fine. But hopefully you are confident enough to walk up to a craps table and at least bet the basic bets. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining me on my first Friday Night Craps series. I appreciate it, and we'll see you at the tables.